All right, shalom and good afternoon, boys. Here, welcome to the covenant. Well, I was here today. We're cleaning out the greenhouse and dealing with some the plastic, and I'm going to be doing a separate video about that. But what I wanted to talk about right quick was, 2026 and your income and demonetization, as well as services like Patreon, PayPal, things of that nature. Listen, I just now got to finish watching a YouTuber, and I watch a variety of YouTubers that do great content, uh, and I like to support them by just watching the channel, because at the end of the day, when you watch the channel, it supports them via the clicks and views. So, and this is why people are so big on clicks and views, and they're so thirsty for it. But for people who make great content, I think that you should support them. I think you should watch their videos at the bare minimum, because especially if their YouTube channel is monetized, they get some money from that. However, there's a problem. Okay, at the end of the day, these people are employees of YouTube. Okay, they're employees of YouTube because YouTube cuts them a check. As all people, you're a 1099 employee at the end of the day, and whenever they don't want you on their platform, they can simply put they can demonetize you, and that's a problem. And anybody has been watching me for any length of time, uh, I advocate not to never put yourself in a situation as to where somebody can just slice off your income, because if you have a family, then what do you do? And YouTube is no different. And so I'm watching this one content creator, Marquise, where he talks a lot about women's issues and stuff, and that's definitely a hot topic, especially in this day and age, with modern day feminism and its destruction of society today, literally destruction of the family structure. But they demonetize his channel, and you can always tell where somebody's getting their main source of income when they start talking about it. And another YouTuber, Truth Never Told, Chris Dwayne, I love the guy. I mean, I've spoken to him before in the past. I think he's a excellent content creator, but they demonetize him. And not only did they demonetize him, they shut down his entire channel, and he was dependent on their income, for his livelihood. And anybody knows anything about YouTube, and this is why they all do it, is that you can make an extraordinary amount of money. I'm telling you, you got people making millions of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and tens of thousands of dollars a month doing content. That's great until they demonetize. And then what happens after they demonetize? Because you're dependent on somebody else for your income. See, if somebody, if you enter into one of these agreements, there's stipulations that's associated with that. And they're cutting down his channel as a direct result. He's saying that, he had to fire people or he had to lay people off or whatever, because that is his primary source of income. Now, he's also claimed that, he's owned businesses and so forth and so on. He's a successful entrepreneur. Me personally, I look at it as, if you're a successful entrepreneur and they cut down your YouTube, they demonetize your account, then that automatically tells me that your primary source of income was not any kind of entrepreneurship or any kind of business, but your primary source of income was YouTube. Uh, I strongly advocate, that you should develop businesses that are outside of the paradigm, where nobody can't demonetize, shut you down. And he was talking about uh, uh, folks in as well, Patreon and all these other channels. Think about it, from a Patreon perspective, right? You can have 5 or 6 or 8 people that, let's say 5 people that you really like and you like to support them. Well, then you're in a situation where, you have bills and you have expenses and everything. And in addition to that, you have 5 people and you have a $10 subscription. That's $10 a month that you're spending on, $20 a month though, or $50 a month that you're spending on Patreon alone. And we're getting to the point where people just don't have the money People just don't have the funds um, to to sign up for all these subscriptions. And it's so bad with subscription services that you can enroll in uh, applications, or what do they call them, services, where it will go through and delete all your subscriptions. Before you know, you don't think about subscriptions until you have 15 to 20 of them. Before you know it, you spending $150 on subscription services, and the economy is bad and people can't afford it anymore. Simply put, people just can't afford it anymore. And so, it's a two-pronged type of issue here, where, the economy is bad, but in addition to that, you have people that are dependent on these incomes for their livelihood. And it's unfortunate because you're looking at a guy like Marquise or Truth Never Told. These are just two specific examples that I know of that this situation has happened, where they're demonetized, and now they're totally destroyed. Could you imagine making $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month, and your YouTube is banging, and then YouTube turns around and says, "Hey, we no longer want you to, we're no longer going to pay for you to be a part of our service." And now, he did a video today in Premiere, Marquez talking about how, he laid off employees, and, it's affecting his income. Well, I thought that you were a successful businessman. So why are you dependent on YouTube for your livelihood? It's no different. It's no different. I think they issue you a 1099. And you pay taxes on that, and that's all fine and well and dandy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get a couple of coins off of YouTube because my channel is monetized, but I don't depend on it at all. I don't depend on it at all. And I speak what I want to speak, and if they ever choose to say, demonetize, then it's fine. I'm still going to speak what I want to speak. When I wasn't demonetized, when I wasn't monetizing, I wasn't or demonetized, I'm still going to speak, the truth to power. I'm still going to speak my mind, and nobody is not going to be able to, attack my income as a direct result of speaking this truth. So, folks got to understand. I mean, I got to get a new gimbal here, but folks got to understand that, when you're dependent on these services, the subscription services, when you're dependent on these things, and it's cut, what do you do? What do you do? And this is why I say over and over and over again, and I'm going to keep on harping over and over again. Make sure that you have some type of real business where you're providing some type of real valuable service, product or service in the real world, where you can develop good, solid relationships with your clients. And as a direct result of doing that, you don't have to worry about it because you have a good rapport and you're providing a need to the community. It's pretty sad to see, but you're going to see less subscription services. You're going to see more demonetization. And it's funny, with demonetization, that doesn't mean that just because you've been demonetized, that doesn't mean that they don't play ads on your videos. They still play ads on your videos. And that's the nefarious part of it. That's the creepy part of it. They still make money off of you. Say it's monetized. Your channel is still monetized. They're just making money off of you still. So in conclusion, take heed. Don't depend on these subscription services. Don't depend on YouTube for your income, because you'll end up like them.